So I wanted to have another episode of the podcast. Nobody's looking at us, but it feels like there's like an audience, just like because the camera's there. That's weird. Well, I want to talk about like drive and what it means and how people will talk about or think about drive whenever they're doing anything. So this is Cassie, one of my former coworkers at Cricket Wireless.
It's nice to see y'all or nice to meet y'all. Kind of sad that he said. Kind of upset that he just said coworker. Thought we were friends, but here I am.
Very good friends since 1994.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah,
that we've known each other, definitely.
How long has it been? Like
6 years? Nah, like 4.
Like 5? No.
4 or 5, yeah.
When did you start working at Cricket?
2016, 17.
2017, 2016.
Yeah.
And I had been there. You were with Julio, right?
Mhm. For a couple months. I got there in November, and in like January, that's it. We were part of
Crown. I think we've always gone in depth, so having a conversation with you about drive, I think would be pretty cool.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I mean, talking about that, what drives you? What do you think that drives you?
I've always been one to be driven by just emotion. Like, I'm not really a thinker. I just do, and it gets me in trouble a lot of the times. Like, I don't want to say I'm selfish and that I don't think of the other person's emotions, but in that moment, something can just set me off, and there I go. I'll tell you whatever it is that I think
you're feeling.
Yeah, so definitely emotions what drives me.
Oh shit! I'm trying to get this shit on my phone as well.
But I mean, that's my short-term drive, because I think that there's short-term drive and there's long-term drive. Something that makes you go every day for how many hours you're going for the same goal.
Yeah.
And then there's drive in that moment. Like if you're hungry, you're driven by your hunger. So
right,
in that moment, you can go get something to eat.
I gotcha. You do have a criminal justice bachelor's, right?
I have my bachelor's in criminal justice. I minored in psychology. Right now, I guess, driven by the fact that, I want a career. I've always told myself that I wanted to get shot and fall out of a two-story building.
What the fuck?
I always told myself that, I have my bachelor's in criminal justice. I graduated in 2018, so it's been 2 years already. I'm still trying to find a career. It's been very difficult. A lot of the places want you to have experience, but then they don't want to give you experience.
You had a gig, right?
Yeah, I was working in Pecos, Texas. I was a correctional officer for Reyes County Detention Center. That was probably the best job I've ever had. And I think it's because it was in something that I wanted to do. But yeah, so that place was awesome. Everyone always says, like, aren't you scared? But no, like I said, I don't want to get shot.
You got to see all these inmates and shit?
Yeah, I got to see some crazy stuff. And in the training, this prison, it was a low security prison. So the inmates here, they were in for, you had your bunch where they were there for rape, murder, whatever it was. And then most of the population was the ones who crossed over, and they're just waiting to get deported.
Okay.
Those were the main ones, and they were the most respectful. Like, I can't say I was ever disrespected.
What got you there, or how did you get the drive to stay? Because it's not, I mean, you said Pecos, Bern, El Paso, so it's actually quite a drive, literally.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
So, I mean, to do it daily, or to do it, a few times a week.
Yeah, it was difficult. I think the actual drive is what I dreaded the most, because it was about if I'm driving super fast, 2 hours, but if not, it was like 2 hours and a half. And I would usually leave the day before, so I leave at 8, and I would get over there at like 12-ish, depending, because they're over there, they're an hour ahead. So, but it was awesome. Like, everyone always tells me, drive is what sucks. It sucks to be away from your family, which is true. I missed, my girlfriend. I missed my family. Missed everything about them. But when I'm over there, it was a whole different place. Like, I was meeting different people every day, different kinds of inmates, different kinds of officers. And that's what really drove me, was that I knew that working there was going to give me the experience I needed to move up. And that was my main goal. Like, whether I moved up in that prison or I moved up in, you know, another prison, I moved up in another job, that's what I wanted to do, was just get experience no matter what happened.
So you're getting your feet wet.
Mm-hmm.
But what drove you? Like, what was giving you that fuel? What was that? Was it the fact that you said emotions, like you just wanted to get that edge, like that, oh shit, I'm in danger? Or was it like, you know, my girlfriend is trying to, you know, do more things and we need to do more things? Like, what was the drive?
Yeah, I think my main drive, because me and my girlfriend graduated at the same time, and she's a teacher, so for her, there's always a need for teachers, always. Just like there's always a need for whether an officer or correctional officer. But her, you know, she got a job, she already had her career, and me, I felt, I guess, behind. So I was applying in any other city. It didn't even matter where I had to go, because I just wanted to have the same. I wanted to also start my career, get started, move up, get experience to whatever was coming. So that was my drive, was like, I need to start already, I need to start making money, help us get, you know, in our future, get our house, our kid, or whatever, and all that takes money. So that was my main goal, was to get money.
So you would say that money was sort of like,
yeah, I would say that was my main
part
goal,
of the drive, yeah.
was money.
Yeah. Well, for me, I think drive is part of something bigger. I think that whenever I think about what I want to do and what drives me, I always go down to like the deepest, worst, most awful part of my life, and I try to get that and make it a positive, and try to make that the start, the get-go, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, drive is a lot bigger than that, and I think it is because I've been able to spend some time researching and looking at stuff like what drive really means, where can you build that drive, how you can build the drive.
Yeah.
And I think what happened with me was, you know, something that I really don't wish to anyone, but I think it's important to know where you came, to know where you're going. And I feel like with you, it's the same. I know that you've been in a place where, you know, I don't feel comfortable, this is not what I want, and I want something more. But I think what I would recommend is try to go to those dark places and try to find the light, and then make it something where you can go regularly without, you know, worrying about, you know, what it did to you, but rather how it changed you and how it helped you. Like for me, living in my car was something that I, you know, never thought could happen, but I also never thought that it would be what kept me going, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So not being able to see that and be in a place where, oh shit, you know, there's no restroom, it's uncomfortable and whatever, it just made you realize, like, you know what, you have touched rock bottom. And I think that's something that I would recommend for everyone. Like, I would recommend, I mean, of course I don't want everybody to go and live in a car or, you know, be, you know, dying or whatever, but I would definitely recommend to go back into those dark places, or not dark, but places where you felt hopeless. I knew that whatever I thought I could get was impossible, and that I went in there with an expectation of like, hey, give me 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I'll graduate. Yeah, and that's the thing with you. Like, we have these expectations, and just like my fiance, this year we said 2020 is gonna be our year. We were gonna get married. She was gonna graduate. We were gonna start having kids. Hell no, that shit rained on us bad.
Yeah.
Her graduation got canceled and postponed. Our wedding got postponed. And then a lot of little things started happening, right? Yeah. So what you thought was going to be perfect, you know, all these expectations, that's when we get hurt. So something that I would recommend is make sure that you always, have your expectations as high as you can, but have that leverage where, you know, you have those expectations, but those are learning expectations, you know, because this is something that I've told my cousins, like, you're in this cliff. You either fight and fly, or you don't fight and die. Like, you just, fuck, yeah.
Yeah.
You get off that cliff, yeah, you can't get it, you're halfway there, but then you start, because you have that need, you have that drive, you have that hunger, you have that fear, so you start flapping away, and you eventually get to flying. And I think that's what happens to all of us, but some of us, just jump off that cliff and go straight down, and it's just hard. And they hit the ground and they start running to try to get some momentum, and they don't see it happening. And I think that's something that happened to us. With me in high school, and you with the police department. But this is something that this guy Tony Robbins. Have you heard of Tony Robbins? Have you looked him up?
I don't want to say no that I haven't.
No, dude, you should. He's
Okay.
amazing. Yeah, and he says, and in front of like thousands of people, he's great. If you like, or if you've ever heard a motivational speaker, or if you're into like people that self-awareness and all that, Tony Robbins is the god of all these people. Like, you want to go, like me, I was lucky that I bumped into Gary Vee, and then Gary Vee had an interview with Tony Robbins. So for me, it was Gary Vee, because he has this social media marketing powerhouse. And when I saw Tony Robbins talking about stocks and financials, and I liked that, I looked into him. Well, Tony Robbins happens to be this humongous dude that, he's got so much behind him. But anyway, he says, whenever you fail, what are you going to do? Try something else. And if that fails, try something else. And then if that fails, try something else. So he talks a lot about these amazing businessmen and these incredible inventors and whatnot. And everybody hears about, he created the light bulb. No, he created Amazon. But they don't talk about the 1,000 times that it took him, or 10,000 times that it took him with that light bulb, or how he was. Did you know that Jeff bezos actually sold books on the internet?
Oh, wow.
He sold books. And Amazon.com was written in a nylon 6x3 banner with spray paint, Amazon.com. And he would get on his knees and he would package books. And he was so smart. He said, what is the thing that will always keep evolving? And he started thinking, what can I sell? And he made all this research, and it was books. So he started with books, and then he started including all these things, and now he's he's publicly one of the richest men on earth.
Yeah.
Publicly. But I think we don't get to see that struggle, and we think,
those first tries.
Yeah. And then for you, I would recommend, just keep at it. Go to the fucking station and be like, hey, so this is what happened. What is it that I failed? Or if they told you.
I called, I ran into the same lady who helped me, I guess, go through the process. She's a recruiter. And I asked her, I was like, hey, I don't really know why I didn't. Because they don't tell you, it's because you got this, and this
we
wrong.
don't like your haircut.
They're just like, yeah, right. So I was like, can you, look me up? And she's like, yeah, sure, because why shouldn't you try again?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so I called her the next day. She let me know why, and I was like, okay, like I can fix that.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing, but the thing is, like, she told me that there's a time limit, so I can't try again until 2023. So you're just like, well, I'm not gonna wait.
Yeah.
This is a great job with everything that's happening. I think it'd be great to be out there, but I'm not gonna wait. I told myself, I was like, no. It broke my heart, but I'm not 100% in it anymore. Like, I don't see that as my job. So I applied to customs. I applied, to the correctional job. I've applied to all law enforcement jobs here in El Paso. I've even looked for little security jobs, because I'm like, wherever it is that I land, whether it be small paying, big paying, your security guard at Target instead of a cop, that's where you start. But it doesn't mean it can't change. It doesn't mean it can't go up.
I don't know if you know about Les Brown. I hope it's Les Brown. He's he's a motivational speaker as well, and he was going into a DJ company. He wanted to be a DJ, Did I tell you about that one?
No.
No, he wanted to be a DJ, right? Well, long story short, he kept on trying to be a DJ, and he saw this broadcasting station, and he went in and he's like, hey, you know what, a DJ, and I like to work for you, yada yada yada. Oh, what's your experience? And what? Nothing. I had done nothing, and he just didn't have any experience, right? But he wanted to be in there. So the guy told him, I'm sorry, we can't hire you.
Yeah.
Right? Comes back the next day. He goes, he dresses differently. He goes, hey, how are you? I was here yesterday asking for a DJ job. I was just wondering, if any DJ got sick or if you fired any DJ. I don't know if something happened within these 24 hours. And he said, no, I'm sorry, we can't have you. We don't have any openings for you, and with your experience or whatever. So he goes back home. Next day he goes back again. He does that for 7 consecutive days. And on the 7th day, the boss told him, go get me a coffee. So he goes, gets the coffee, starts bringing coffee for everyone. At the end of the day, he goes and he starts waxing cars for the people that work there. Wow. And he just digs himself, finds ways to go in there, And then one day, they have him, cleaning, and there's this other DJ in the box, and he's drunk as shit. So they call Les Brown and they tell him, hey, don't let this guy go in there again. Call every single DJ that we have in line and ask them if they can come in, right? Yeah. And he said, call me in 15 minutes, see if they can come in. And he says, yes, sir. He calls his mom, his girlfriend. I'm about to go on air in 15 minutes. You better tune in. He fucking goes for it, tells everybody that he knows that he's going to be on air. He calls back the boss. Hey, nobody answered. Okay, get him off the air. Just click it on auto and keep it on there until somebody comes in. Yeah. He grabs the mic and he goes off. He's like, I'm Les Brown, the best that has ever, nobody's been better than me before. Some crazy shit. And it's like, damn, like this dude went for it. Yeah. And it's that persistence, that drive,
Yeah. And he took his opportunity. You know? He wasn't going to let it down. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, you're definitely right, because I know a lot of people who have gotten into law enforcement who are worse than me. And I don't mean worse as in a person, but, their background is a little different from what I did.
The odds are less.
Yeah, but they got in. They're in, and they've been there a year or whatever it is, and then I'm just like, what? And a lot of them are just like, oh, well, I knew so-and-so, or I didn't tell them that part of me, and I'm like, man, I was super honest. I should have just not been honest. But the more that I think about it, I'm like, no, I'm happy that I was honest. I'm happy that I gave that piece of me. I said whatever it is that I thought I had to say. Yeah. And I can't say it got me in trouble, it just didn't get me the job. Mm-hmm. But because of that, I got to work at this prison. I'm applying for all these other jobs in which, I'm still in the process. I'm just waiting. It's just a waiting game, which I think is the hardest part, because every day, no matter what, you have to tell yourself, like, it's okay if they don't call you, you're still in the process. They'll eventually tell you, no, it's because of this, and then you can forget about it. Then it's the next one in line, the next one in line.
But I think that, and that's, I mean, like I said, I don't know how the criminal justice department works, but what I would say is, keep calling somebody. If you know that they're the head honcho, text them, call them. They will do this is something that we would do when we were in the store, Yeah. Hey, do you have ABP? Hey, do you have ABP? Yeah. Just put it on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And just keep pushing that persistence. I think that for a lot of people, they lose that. They lose that, and they lose that too quick. I think they want that magic pill that, you take it at night, you wake up and you're there. Chris Evans or fucking Hemsworth, or you wake up and you're Shakira or, the Kardashians. But I think it takes more than that pill. And even if you take that pill, even if they come up with that massive pill, it's what you do and how you get it. And I think it's just important. And like with my fiance, she grinds. Yeah. She really grinds. Same thing with my brother, and I feel like my brother and my fiance are similar, because they have that if they have something in front of them and they need to get it done, it doesn't matter. Like, they forget about themselves. Yeah. They just go for it. And I think that's something that that has gotten both of them to the places they've been. And honestly, I think that for a lot of people, drive is to be looked for,
Yeah.
rather than just waiting for somebody to kick and come and just take
Give it to 'em.
yeah, give it to you. But
Because I would say there are people, like your fiance, that just it comes naturally, that drive to just do it. Like, okay, you tell me to do this, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to try to do it the best that I can. And then I would say there's me, where I'm like, I have.
you need that YouTube video.
Yeah, I need a pep talk. Someone to tell me, no, you got to get it done. And when I was in the prison, I would say I was a whole different person. Because when I was at Cricky, someone had to sit with me, show me the paper, and be like, look, you're not doing so well here. You need to fix it, okay?
Yeah.
Even though I already knew. I had already seen the paper, but I was still like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But in the prison, there's no one that's going to sit with you. There's no time to be babying you. Like, if you're not paying attention, someone else is paying attention. And that can get you in a lot of danger and a lot of trouble, because these inmates, they're like the super observant.
Oh, yeah.
You bring a different shirt that day, or hat that day, or an undershirt, and they're like, oh, so you like the color blue? And then you're like, what? And they're like, it's because you've worn blue for like the past 4 weeks. And you're like, damn, I wasn't even paying attention.
They got nothing else to do.
Yeah, so that, I would say in the prison I did it on my own. Like, oh, you need me to do something? Okay, I'll do it. Before the captain even told me, I was like, it's done. Before the lieutenant came and told me, hey, this is happening, I was like, it's already handled. And all of them were telling me, they're like, man, you could possibly be a supervisor here, a lead here, or a lieutenant, or whatever it is, you should apply. And I was always like, oh, nah, man, like, I'm not ready yet. Like, I've only been here for a month or 2 months. And they're like, yeah, but, you're always ahead. We don't have to tell you, or you already know the process in which things work. And for that reason, you've only been here for a month. And yet you're there, you understand. So when I saw myself there, being, on top of it, being more driven, I was like, maybe this is just the setting in which I'm comfortable in, where it just comes naturally for me. Because, now that I work at Walmart, I can say that I slack it, where I'm like, well,
Well, you don't have that. The interest is not there.
Yeah, so.
And why did you, let me ask, why did you come back from there?
I had taken a background check, and it didn't pass from the stuff that I had on my background. It was drugs that I had. It's a long story.
Yeah.
I think that's a whole nother podcast. But it was basically drugs, some of the drugs that I had done, mind you, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
They said no, that doesn't matter that it was 7 years ago, it still comes out. And I was like, well.
Still comes out.
Yeah, as in, because on the background, you have to tell them, oh, I did such and such drugs. I guess I don't have to. I could have lied, but me being the same person that I've always been, where I'm just like, well, I'm gonna be honest, because I'd hate for it to come out and then me look, dishonest or whatever it is. So I put everything that I had done, and then they're like, no, well, because you put it, you're out. And then I was like, what? So I'm talking to all the officers, and they're like, oh yeah, dude, me too, but I didn't put it. And I'm like, what?
And that's where
and
selling yourself is.
That right there, that's when I told myself, I'm like, man, all of 2020 I'm gonna lie.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm never telling the truth about myself again.
Yeah.
But I mean it in the sense that, because I had one of the warrants in the prison, he told me, he's like, but why did you put it? Why did you, it was 7 years ago, we check you now and say you never did.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I know, but it's just like, if an important place is asking me to be honest, I find it within myself to just let you know.
And I think that I think that's something that happened to one of our other coworkers.
Oh, applying for the sheriff's, right?
Yeah, but I think he did the same, and he has that same mentality of like, I'm just gonna keep it safe.
Yeah.
For me, and honestly, like I think being honest is something that everybody should have.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, with the system that we are in, like, thinking that all those people that work there have never done drugs is impossible.
Yeah.
Or that they have never done something wrong, So I think going back to the selling yourself, you need to make sure that you sell yourself, and it doesn't matter. Let them figure it out. You see what I'm saying? Like, don't cut their hard work for them. And
Yeah.
I've done that before, like with Julio. I remember that we were at Bassett. I went in. Have you ever worked for? Yeah, yes, sir. Like I've done it. Oh, and what's your biggest? What would you say is your best skill? And I said convincing people.
Mm.
And he's like, all right, and he was with the guy in charge back then. You know, give him a try, and that's how I started. I started at Bassett, and I moved around all these stores, and it was crazy. But I knew that I can't chop my feet off. Like I can't, and that's something that I've always have. I do a part-time job at the taxes, and this yeah, and, you know I know it's not hard. You know, if somebody else is doing it, and this is something that my fiance's mom has always told me, if they can do it, you can do it better. And that has resonated with me since then. And honestly, every single time where yes, can you do? Yeah, I can do it. It's easy. Those that don't know how to do something is because they don't want to know how to do it. You have the power of the internet. You have the smartest thing on earth at your fingertips. You know, it's google.com. I mean, it's simple.
Exactly.
Very very simple.
So from that time, I was like, I wouldn't say it broke my heart as much as the police department because I had already broke my heart, or had my heart broken.
Yeah.
So in this it just taught me like, okay, because the warrant told me like, no, if if you don't do it anymore and it's not a problem, then it's not a problem for us.
Yeah.
And he's like, but you're saying it as if like you're guilty about it. And he's like, that makes us like, well, she's still announcing it, and it was 7 years ago. Why? What's going on?
Is she gonna come back to it?
Yeah. So they're like, if that's not you anymore, that's not you. Tell us you now.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, damn.
So that sounds like they did not want to let you go.
No, the warrant, he wanted to fight for me. He tried. He called some people. The captain, the lieutenant, all the officers. I tried going to the
White
bureau
House
that they had there.
Oh.
I would have gone straight to the White House.
Well,
but,
the dude there doesn't really accept people in your color.
Right? Yeah.
You gotta
So
bleach your face or something.
I'll do something to I don't know. I'll figure it out. It's the drive that'll get me there.
No, but.
But yeah, I learned that same thing. Even though I lost an amazing job that I wish I had never lost, I had learned something.
Changing the subject a little bit, I think that in many ways people need to understand, where they stand. They need to understand it, and really, like, for me, I think you have to be completely honest with yourself, like completely honest. Oh, I'm lazy. Okay, well, tell yourself, stop being lazy, because you are lazy.
Yeah.
And some people say, yeah, I know, but it's fine. Like, no. Like, be completely honest. I love crack. Well, hey, crack is bad and whatever. Like, you have to make sure that you are completely honest with you, because, and this is something that Tony Robbins always says as well, is if you say, I quit smoking 85 days ago, you're what does that do? Like, you're just building the story. Oh, it's been 145 days. You're just counting the days before you go back to doing it, so that when you're smoking, you say, hey, I went 145 days. So you're building the story. You're building the reason. Oh, it was 145. I couldn't. No. Like, the day you say, I am
clean.
I am clean. I am not an alcoholic. I am a police officer. I still haven't found my station yet. And you do police officer shit where you go and work out, where you go and you read and you learn and how the law and this and that, right? Then that just means you're just waiting, but you're getting prepared. You're not just waiting to like, no. Today, like for me, today I became this, or now I work out, and I told my peers, like, don't say, oh, I've been 2 days to the gym. No, I'm saying you should tell yourself, no,
I'm working out.
Yeah, I'm working out. I'm in the gym. How long have you? It don't matter. Like, I went yesterday. I went today. I'm good.
And see, when people say, oh, it's been 3 days, 4 days, hey, I went 5 days yesterday, hey, I ate 3 salads all last. You are just building that story, you're building your excuse, and it's never going to work. Because
That's good.
definitely you're just, at the end of the day, you're just building that excuse for yourself. And the better your story is, the more comfortable and the better you're gonna be when you're eating your triple cheese or your patty melt or whatever, you know. So for me, and I don't know if they can see it, but I have all this shit around me, and I need to, wherever I look, I need to know that, hey, you need to get to work. Like my phone, my screen says work. That's how you get it done. Stop wasting time. My password has stuff like that. So because I know that if I start, getting ambiguous, it's gonna go to shit. So you have to take action. You have to make sure that you go for it. And I think that's something. And the message would be for this, like, you've gone to places you want to be. Unfortunately, some traits, honesty, and whatever, got you off of that wagon. Now you're not roaming where you want to roam, but you're gonna go back up there and you're gonna just keep going. For me, and anybody can tell you, like, I've been clean since high school, but I've always liked to keep shit clean. And I'm talking like my rooms and whatever.
Yeah, your space.
So because I can't work in clutter. Even at night, I can't work. I can't sleep if there's all this shit all over. We've been in trips with friends, and I clean their room. It's like it just makes me feel good.
Yeah.
And same thing with with work. Well, I don't want to lie. With work, it's different. Like I have 8 tasks, and if I have one that can wait 2 or 3 days, that will stay lingering. And one thing that I'm trying to work on is getting all that shit done. Make sure to put the date and the time, because the more specific it is, the higher the chances are that you are gonna do it. And
yeah,
it's just something that for me, and if I can relay a message here, is I think you need to make sure that you know where you stand. You need to make sure that you know what drives you, why it drives you, and just keep repeating it to yourself. Practice makes perfect, honestly. And you will never get to perfect, but you will.
Actually, what I've heard from my girlfriend is she's like, I don't say that to myself because I don't think I can ever reach that. She's like, because that's like ultimate. You're like ultimate if you get there. She's like, but I feel like there's always something to better yourself, so practice makes progress.
Oh, that's a good one.
In the sense of me, I made progress, and I can't say that I went down in my progress just because, I'm not at a prison, I'm at Walmart, but regardless, I'm making progress in that I'm still keeping myself leveled. I'm not super devastated like I was in the police department where I was like, this is it. I lost it. What am I going to do with my life? Now I'm just like, it's okay. Like, I learned something. I'm going to take it with me forever. And wherever I go, I'll just be better. I'll always be better. So I would say it's practice makes progress.
And honestly, that's what keeps people alive.
Yeah.
Honestly. If you don't grow, you die. Literally. If you don't grow to 26 years, 7 months, and 3 days, you don't go to 27 years, 6 months, and 4 days, you're dead. So you're growing. Mm-hmm. Same thing goes with everything. If you're not growing, you're going to die. Progress actually is what keeps people going.
Yeah.
So that's something that I actually learned today. I was at the gym, I was working out, and that's what I was listening to Tony Robbins, and he said progress is actually the reason, and that's what's going to keep your fuel tank full. Make sure that you progress. It doesn't matter that, if the ones that have those big excuses, they usually or those big butts, as he says, usually have a big butt, but I went, but I didn't have money, and I went, but, so all these excuses. So what he was saying is that some of these people don't need a professional trainer or a gym. They just need somebody to go behind them and yell, run! They just need them to, hey, get your ass going. And if you have, 10 pounds overweight, or 15 or 20 or whatever, you haven't done shit for years, and then you walked 10 minutes. That's progress.
Mhm.
The next day is 12 minutes, 15. So progress creates that momentum. That's what's going to keep you going. And I think that's what you said was perfect. You know, practice makes progress. I think practice does make perfect. And you're never going to get there. She's right. But you will always try to get there, and that will always make you better.
Like I would say, I did get comfortable, or I do get comfortable often.
Comfort is the
It's
biggest
very,
enemy of
it's
success.
horrible. It's very horrible, and I'm very like, I'll get home from work and I know that I should work out. It's a thing that I need to do because these places that I want to go to or the jobs that I want to get.
Well, you look thinner. You've been running.
But I don't want to get thinner, I'm
No,
always scrawny.
No, but you were running, right? You were running.
Yeah,
and
I was running. I did lose. I think I lost like 2 pounds, but I mean, I weighed myself like not too long ago. But I tell myself I need to work out, and to make myself feel better, which I guess is progress. I do like 10 push-ups, and I'm like, all right, time to shine. I worked out. That was it, which is progress. Because the other day, I was like, well, I think I can do more than 10 push-ups. And I did 45 push-ups that day.
Oh,
and I did like some calf raises and I don't know what else I did. So I was like, wow, doing 10 push-ups every day, although it was very little to build anything because my body can carry more, I started doing more. And it motivated me, it drove me to do more because I was like, well, I can do more. Why aren't I doing more? Because I'm tired? Like, I'm going to go to sleep anyway. I'm going to get the rest that I need. So why not? So yeah, I mean, I can still say that I get comfortable in which that I'm like, well, I need to wait for these jobs to call me, so I'll just wait. But just like you said, I should be reading books. I should be working out. I should be preparing myself for everything that I'm going to see in the academy or the training. And I think that is something that I need to work on within myself, that I need to drive myself to do because I'm too complacent with the waiting game, that I need to wait. That's what I just tell myself.
And that's another one. You're just, throw it at me. He says, change your shoulds to musts.
Yeah.
And that, literally, the way you talk to yourself, and that's something that me and my fiance, like I always, not always, but if you keep telling yourself that,
Yeah.
you never, it's not never, but if you keep telling yourself that, it's how you talk to yourself. Why can I ever lose weight? Why can I ever gain weight? Why can I ever look like, you ask yourself stupid questions, you give yourself stupid answers. Oh, why can I never lose weight? Because you're a pig. That's what you tell yourself, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, why can I never, get that job or earn more money? Because you're lazy. Because you don't, you ask yourself those questions and you answer yourself those things. Oh, it's because I never, no. Well, you can earn more money. You can work out. You can lose weight. It's just that, why don't I go daily? Ask yourself that. Why don't I work out 5 times a week?
Mm-hmm.
That language, and I've been listening to these people for years, about 2 years now, and trust me, that massive action is the cure-all. That I just put it there like last week, and I've been listening to this, and I've heard it so many times. But you have to keep working at it. You have to keep going. You have to keep. Yeah. But see, same thing. Like the way you talk to yourself, the way you talk to people, the nevers, the always, the shoulds need to get out. Though that language is like horrible. That's worse than fuck and bitch and this and that. Like it's worse than that because it's like belittling yourself. It's pushing you down and it's dragging you. And I mean we have those arguments with our partners, and it's like you never pay attention to me. If I never paid attention to you, you wouldn't be around. Yeah. Because hey, can you pass me the salt? And if I don't do that, then that's an argument, so you listened. Oh, you always ignore me. If I always ignored you, we wouldn't be talking right now. But it's that language that messes with you. So, I should be working, no, I must work out. I must,
yeah, so definitely.
It's, I think, and this is just, I'm not, self-aware, no. All of this shit, everything we do, like the shirt you're wearing, the hat, this shirt, we saw it on someone, we copied the behavior we did of people or things or that we liked or that we inspired or whatever. Like that's why your circle is important. But having that in mind, like it's important that you should do this, you must do this, is something that when you're talking to your partner or when you're with your family, I mean, if you practice that, if you keep constantly doing that and gearing that, because it's not just with partners, it's with family and whatnot. Like me, I started texting my brothers and my sister, hey guys, I love you. It was hard for me to say I love you to just anyone, but now it's like I do, like I feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Have you gone to like a place where you're like, oh man, like that you feel that ecstasy, like that those goosebumps are like, oh I love you, like, or I love. I mean, the pasta tastes like shit, but you know that she did it with so much love. Like, oh man, I love.
Yeah.
Have you done that?
Yeah, definitely. There have been several occurrences where I've told.
So Stephanie doesn't know how to cook, is that what you're saying?
No,
Oh, okay.
definitely. She knows how to. But I've always told her, because I always tell her I love it. I like it. It's great. And then she always tells me, but it's not, because I tasted it too, and I think it needs this and that. And I was like, I know, but I like it. I think it's great for right now. I'm thankful that you tried to make whatever pasta or whatever, and I'm gonna eat it. She's like, but it's burnt. I'm like, it's okay. Whatever comes in me's gotta come out, so it's gonna come out. So, but I'm like, I like it.
Yeah.
And she's always like, but you gotta be honest with me. And I'm like, okay. So I'm working on being like, okay, well, it needs a little bit more salt. But in my head, I'm like, I love it though. Yeah. It's great. I could eat this every day.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
And I think that comes from like that love, that you make that in your head. Like for me, and for everyone, it's whatever you make it. And that's, I think, and honestly, that's a big one right now, with everybody that's going through the whole COVID and everything. That's of course, COVID is a disaster. It's something that I wouldn't wish on anyone, and having family members sick or people that die from this and whatever, that's horrendous. But if you put yourself in perspective and you take a look at your own life, if you're not affected by it, if your family members, you should be grateful. You should be like, wow. I believe in God, so God has protected you. Or if you don't, the universe has kept it away from your loved ones.
Yeah.
And or if you did get infected and you're good, you were able to recover. Now you have the antibodies. Now you're good. You come at me. Go lick the airplanes off. It doesn't matter. So I feel like it's with the food and with the food that I get. I mean, Stephanie at first she was making pancakes.
Okay.
And she did pancakes with one of my cousin's girlfriends, fiancés, I'm sorry. Fiancé, not cousins, fiancés. With his fiancé, because he just has one. And they tasted great, but it was my cousin's fiancé that did them, right? Mm-hmm. And she knows how to cook and everything. And then Stephanie's learning, and she's learning fast. So she did these pancakes, and I'm like, damn, these are good. Like honestly, those are my favorite. And yeah, it was because we were in a good place and I love her and everything, but she's learning and she's putting in that. So it's like when you put in that effort or you put in like that feeling, things come out a lot better. You make it whatever you want it. The good things, the bad things, the situations, the food, everything. I think it's what you make out of it. And to be honest with you, I've learned to do a lot of that. Like I've learned to do a lot of that. Even if it's just like a hello from somebody that you were once in a fight with or some grudges or whatever. I think it goes a long, long way.
Yeah, and I think from what we know, you're only here once. So those I love yous, those hays, those pancakes, they only come once. You don't know if it's going to come tomorrow, if it's going to come in an hour, because you just don't know. And I think that little unknown of time that we may not get is also a drive. Like we should drive to the fact that if I don't do it now, I might not get to later.
Yeah, and I think for me that's, and I kind of lost track right now, but we imitate like everything that I was saying. I didn't bring it up. I didn't discover any of it. You know, I was able to go on YouTube and you know I was able to go to a show and I was learning and everything. And I think for me, because a lot of people, not a lot, but I did hear some people say like, oh, like when I went to the Gary Vee show. When he came to El Paso, there was like people that said, "Oh well, I thought he was going to talk about business, or he was going to talk more about this and more about that." Like, you can get all that stuff from Google.
Yeah.
For me, like I everything he said is something that I had already seen on YouTube. But being there, you know, that experience, getting the picture, the autograph, that means a lot. And to a lot of people, they're just missing that. They forget that life is a gift. You know, that life really, really is a gift. That's why it's called the present. And that's something that Les Brown said. And I feel like people just need to understand that. And that's where everything, and having that drive, having all that stuff comes from realizing that. At the end of the day, we're just, you don't know, like you really don't know when this is going to end, you know, when you punch out. Como that's something my dad would say, like, si te toca, y si no, ni aunque te pongas.
Yeah.
You're going to get in front of that bus, well, there's going to be an oscillator waiting for you. There's going to be a vapotherm. My girlfriend, I hang around so much with them that
You know all the terms.
Yeah, we were in New York, and we were actually flying back. And it was funny because they were talking about all these things, and I was like, yeah, when you have the 16 gauge and you hang your vasotracin, or you want to make sure that your vecuronium is running a drip of 15 millimeters per second per unit, and all this, they were just laughing. So we were flying back, and they were taking this quiz because they're all in the nurse practitioner program. They were. And they were like, oh, I have this nurse practitioner book, right? So they were taking a quiz. It was like a 10, 15 questions. And I don't know shit, but I know what and how to read and whatever. Honestly, I've always been a good test taker. I know how to put shit together. They were flat out just missing every single question. I hit like 9 out of 10. I was like, come again? No, it's C. No, it's D. No, it's A. But it was funny because I was just hitting every single question, and I can see that they were like, how does he know that? Like, I have.
Is he studying?
Yeah, fuck. No, like, I didn't study for my test, my finals, shit. No, but that's funny.
That's interesting. Like, you know, my girlfriend always tells me, whatever you do, I know you're gonna do it really good, because somehow you just have that thing with you where you just get it. You're there and you're like, okay, I could do that. And she in college, you know, she graduated in math. She's a mathematician.
Mm-hmm.
So her, like, she really had to study. She was at UTEP at 4 a.m, you know, for all her exams. She had her study group, her people. She was always staying up. And me, you know, not that I can say criminal justice is easy, but for me it really was. Like, I could read my chapter, you know, 10 minutes before my exam, 90. And then other people in my same class, they're like, hey, what'd you get? Oh, I got a 90. You know, this is my third time getting a 60. I don't know what's going on. And in my head, I'm like, I didn't even study. Like, it's not even difficult. But, you know, she always told me, she's like, exactly. She's like, for you. She's like, maybe your brain works different in which you just make connections and it's easy for you. But these people, you know, they read and they write down notes in different colored pens, and they highlight, and they go on Google and they watch people talk, but it's not making a connection. They haven't found what works for them, what's making them to be like, oh, God, I know what this is.
Whenever you encounter a problem, or whenever you're having an issue, do you start breaking it down, or or what you do is you start wondering how it happened? Like, let's say right now you're driving down I-10 and boom, your tire blows up. what do you think of? Oh, I should have changed the tire. Man, I knew that time I just changing that shit. Or do you feel like, okay, I need to drive here. I need to this here. Make sure I do have the cross in the back. I do have a spec. What do you do? Which one do you?
I'd be like, where do I drive to the side? Do I call someone? Can I do it on my own? I know I have the
Tools.
the tools in my back to fix it. Can I fix it? And then I start breaking it down like, okay, I think I've seen a video on how to change a tire. I can watch a video right now. I think I could do it. So I would definitely say I think like in the moment. Like, what can I do right now? It needs to be fixed right now. What do I do?
I think that's why. Because there's two kinds of people, and this is something that they've said too.
Mm-hmm.
You either have a reason or you have results. That's all. So you have a reason why it happened. Oh, and I told that guy and he gave me some cheap tires and that, and you come and you have built that story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or results. You know what? I did this. I'm gonna change this shit. And that's the result I got. You know what? And at the end of the day, I don't have a donut. I don't have this. I don't have the tools. Like, okay, you call people. You know what? This is what happened. People came. You have the tow truck there, but those are the results. And I think I'm going into super different ways, but
It all goes back though.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have the drive to make a result, or do you have the drive to just think of reasons? And is just thinking of reasons even gonna drive you anywhere? Literally. Like, if I'm just thinking of reasons why my tire popped, I'm not gonna drive anywhere because my tire popped. Like, I'm just gonna sit there and just drive myself crazy because I'm there in traffic like, well, what?
I should have. Well, it's because they didn't.
Yeah. And you know, if I'm thinking, how the heck do I fix this so that people aren't honking at me? Okay, let's do it. And then I'm back on the road and I'm driving literally back to where my destination was. So I think all the topics that we've talked about, you know, whether how we learn or how we practice things, how we make progress, it all goes back to why we even did it in the first place. What made us drive there at all to do those things.
I completely agree. Well, I mean, just to sum it up, you have to find that drive, and you have to go look for it. There's no magic pill. There's no, nobody's gonna come in the window to your door and ask you or tell you or, here's the ticket to the lotto. You just have to go do it. And I think once you get going, you get that momentum and you have that progress.
Yeah.
You start building that drive as well. So, well, thank you, Cassie. Appreciate you coming.
Yeah, thanks, man.
You didn't break the mask, but
loved it.
oh, thank you guys. Appreciate it. See you soon.